It's never good when the lawyer calls. I remember sitting in my office one day and I saw the lawyer's number pop up. We didn't have a scheduled call, so I knew there was a problem. We were in the midst of a massive PBS launch where the president of the company was going around to various PBS stations and promoting a new idea. And what we thought was, because part of this was consumption food, that we would put a blender bottle in as part of the package that they could get for PBS. I love PBS. They give such good information and they're such good people. And they really work hard to make sure everything is right. And so did we. Logistic-wise, it's a little challenging to deal with all of that and have people from around the country be ordering stuff and getting it out and all of that. It's a bit of a challenge, and we figured the blender bottle was worth the effort. We went ahead and I went out and I learned how to order blender bottles. Now, I found that there's two types. There's blender bottle, which is a registered trademark, and there are others. The others were obviously less expensive, and I thought we might as well just make it less expensive. It's part of a gift. But it turns out that Blender Bottles has a patent on that. Therefore, what we've done has infringed upon a patent. Pull that all off, apologize to Blender Bottle, and buy the other bottles. My fault. I took full responsibility for it. I tried to learn what it was doing, and we were able to fix it. And Blender Bottle understood, and we were not looking to see if there was a trademark for Blender Bottle. They don't have a trademark on the name, they have a trademark on the process, which is great. I really encourage that. So if you're ever thinking about doing something like trademarks and patents are really important to have, and there's a great people who do that. Everyone looked at that, and we had thousands of fake Blender bottles that we couldn't use. So we gave them away to the homeless, which was a great solution. But if you look at that one way, that was a major failure and something that could have gone wrong. But on the other hand, it was also a great success. It taught me a whole bunch of things about patent law and what to look out for, about cost savings and how sometimes it's more expensive that way, and finally, being able to pivot and get things done, as well as how to order from overseas, get it in, and all the pick, pack, and ship. That progressed later on to an entirely new client that actually teaches that, and I was able to have that conversation. But that challenge, that failure, became a success in that it cost us more money, yes, but we learned a lot of things and we're able to actually do some good. There's a lot of homeless people wandering around with pink, fake blender bottles right now because of what happened. The path to greatness is paved with temporary setbacks. It's how you respond that defines your context. Every successful business has faced challenges and obstacles along the way. It's the nature of the game. What separates the winners from the losers is their ability to embrace adversity, learn from it, and use it as fuel to propel them forward. Business that shies away from difficult or views setbacks as failures are destined to remain stuck in mediocrity. True champions understand that every obstacle is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. By playing the long game and refusing to be deterred by temporary setbacks, they unlock the door to sustained excellence and unprecedented growth. But how do you do that? You set up an expectation that you make a decision and it may not always be right. Set up the entire company to recognize that you may fail. You may have problems. The end is not when there's failure. The end is when you come up with a solution, a unique and elegant solution to the problem, like giving away to the homeless. Setting up your company, your team, or your organization to expect failure. How do you do that? You start having conversations about risk and failure. When something happens, you do not punish the individual, but reward them for coming up with a creative idea, and therefore dropping the fear of failure into making it into something that is iterative and positive. Also by using stories to have that conversation with people, where failure is something that happens to be part of life, and therefore we accept it and we use it as a teaching tool. There's a great story that I always hear about FedEx and the FedEx standalone kiosks that they have. And you see them all over the place where you can put your FedEx package in and it gets there. The interesting part is that they're actually full of cement so people can't take it. Now, FedEx used to have a slogan that says, when it absolutely positively has to get there overnight. And the FedEx teams tell this story about an individual who was driving a truck, and that truck comes up and he'd forgotten the key to this box. So instead of just giving up and shrugging, he actually wrestled the box into the truck so that any of the packages could really get there. Failure into success. Those sort of short stories that you can emphasize in your company will help create one of the great new ways of looking at failure and success. I want to hear from you. What do you think is another great story of failure success? Put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode on the Strategy Session, where we take your business from stuck to unstoppable. Here's another video I think you'd enjoy. If you found these insights valuable, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications on our latest videos. Want to transform your business with expert strategies? Schedule your strategy session today by clicking the link in the description below. Remember, you're not just marketing, you're making history with venture gained. See you in the next video.